I just got to get ahead. That's first off. I've been really bad with it the last couple weeks. That'll allow me to, get some opportunities to really go for that swing and miss once I get 2 strikes. So I think that's kind of the biggest focus right now.
Welcome back to the Ultimate Seattle Sports Show. Rough day for George Kirby on Wednesday against the Mets. He owned it, which I always love about pro athletes, just holding themselves accountable because he knows there's going to be another day. Joining us now to break down the Mariners is former Mariners reliever Charlie Furbush. Charlie, we know you're a busy man, so we appreciate you coming on the show with us today.
Oh, glad to be here. Wish I could do it in person, so hopefully next time I'll be sitting right in between you guys, and we'll be chatting back and forth.
I gotta say, Paul, look at him. I mean, it's like he's showered for the show. The hair looks on point. I mean, he's looking good.
I don't even recognize him. Hey, Charlie, you're looking good, man.
Exactly.
All right, let's start with George Kirby. He's had 4 straight rough outings. Is there anything you're seeing from him that might concern you?
No, nothing of concern. I think this is the typical, as you play 162 games and as a starter trying to get 30 starts, you may have a clunker in there. So I just look at this as just one of the games that he said it there. He didn't get ahead, which didn't allow him to set himself up for, attacking and putting hitters away. So, when you're kind of fighting against yourself, it gets a little challenging out there. So you got to really do the best you can to hone in and fire high quality strikes. So I think it was just a little bit of a challenge for Kirby, and it's nothing that I'm concerned about. He still is a really, really talented pitcher, and we've seen this time and time again where he can come out and absolutely dominate a lineup. So I'm excited to see him bounce back, because this is definitely an outing you want to bounce back from, especially with how the team's playing. So at the end of the day, he owns it like any good major league pitcher should. You take the loss personally when it's your fault, and when you do well, you give success to everyone else. So, and give praise to everyone else. So I'm still thrilled with where Kirby's at, and ultimately where the team's at.
Yeah, well, and speaking of the team and the rest of the pitching staff, Charlie, they've been rolling. Now the piggyback approach, whether you like it or not, it has worked 3 times in. Now they're going to go back to a 6-man rotation during this road trip. Is that tough for Bryce Miller and Luis Castillo? And I guess, what would you like to see the rest of the season from this starting rotation?
Yeah, it certainly is a peculiar situation I think the Mariners find themselves in this year. I don't think that they anticipated going into the season that Emerson Hancock was going to, kind of force his way into the rotation and be an all-star-ish caliber starter. And ultimately, with the injury of Bryce Miller and a little bit of down performance out of Castillo, and now Bryce Miller's back, I think trying to keep everyone healthy and ready to go. And ultimately, these guys are major league starters. So, keeping them on that starter routine as close as you can, I think was the best way to handle it. And, for what it's worth, at the end of the day, the Mariners even said it, it's just, hey, communicating these things, as a major league pitcher, you just want to know your role. You want to know what's going on, and trying to be as transparent with the player as you can be. I think the Mariners, continue to learn through this. This is the first time they've done it. So as you navigate these waters, you're trying to figure out what is the best way to handle the situation, and how do we keep everyone happy, and ultimately, how do we keep starting pitcher depth, right? Yeah. Like if anything were to happen, we want to make sure that we always have, Castillo and Miller there. And I think the way that it played out, like you said, it worked. It's one of those situations where you could argue the first time that it went out, and maybe you bring Munoz in the 9th and you don't let Castillo go, it actually works beautifully in the first one. Yeah. And then you go to the next one and it works great. So I think maybe could the Mariners be onto something? Could they find another way to keep pitchers healthy over the long run? Because that's a big part of this as well. Like, how do you keep everyone healthy? You saw what happened last year. The rotation dealt with a bunch of injuries. So how do you figure out ways to maybe give guys a break when you need it? And if this 6th man is going to be a little bit or piggyback situation is going to be a little bit uncomfortable, and maybe it's something you learn on the fly and get through it. And then certainly it can help the health of everyone. But yeah, I'm glad it's worked, because I think in a lot of ways, for a lot of people looking at the 6-man, looking at the piggyback, it could have gone south pretty quick, because we've seen it happen in other ways in other teams. So it just shows you how good the Mariners pitchers are. And in a lot of ways, the pitchers are a humongous reason why the team is where they're at right now. They have done such a good job, not to mention the starters, even the bullpen collectively have done such a good job getting the team to this point. And that's first place in June, and there's nothing to hate about that.
Yeah, I'm really glad you brought up the bullpen there, because as much attention as the starting rotation gets and has gotten in recent years, that bullpen has been killing it lately. They've had some strong games. How key was it getting Matt Brash and Gabe Spire back in the mix?
It just those are guys that are tremendously vital for this bullpen and the success of it long term. And I think when you have guys like Brash and Spire that you can count on, that are essentially high-powered strike throwers, strikeout pitchers, guys are going to come in and really shut the door. I think the Mariners felt when those guys were out, you felt that, oh wow, there are some other guys that are going to have to step up in some big situations. So when you have these guys back in action and you can set them up for an easy, maybe not easy, but a smoother entry into the 9th inning to hand it to Munoz, it just feels as if the starters don't have to do as much as you think. Get to 6, we got a few guys. Obviously, Bizzardo has been another guy who's been fantastic out of the bullpen. So I think when you just look around and just hear even what Dan Wilson is saying, it is the next man up mentality. We realize that this is a journey, a roller coaster ride, and we don't know what we're going to get each night. And sometimes it's going to require certain guys to step up. But when you have your horses in the bullpen that can go out and get it done night after night, it certainly makes it feel like, okay, if we just get a couple runs across the board and the pitchers do what we expect and know that they're capable of doing on a regular basis, which they've proven to show, then, we can win a lot more games. So it's certainly a good thing to have those guys back, and excited to maybe see where they're going to take their next steep step in their career.
I'm glad you mentioned Bizzardo. He's been fun to watch for sure. I'm going to be honest, Charlie. I thought this Mariners team was going to struggle the past couple of weeks with Cal Raleigh out. He's just one of the big leaders on this team. It's been the opposite. They have rallied with him out. They've won 8 of their last 9. We're seeing Julio Rodriguez stepping up. J.P. Crawford, we showed his numbers earlier. He's stepping up. Josh Naylor, Randy Arozarena. What have you seen from this Mariners team that has kind of led to this run they've been on?
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly nice to see the bats turn around, and I think there are a couple games you can look back on and say, wow, it's nice to see that it feels like the offense kind of carried the load and scored a bunch of runs, and you got a 6-run inning here or there. But it seems to me the one thing that continues to stand out, and I don't know if it's just on the backdrop of a 60 home run season from Cal, but it feels like the Mariners are the slugging Mariners. They are hitting home runs at a pretty frequent pace. They're top 10 or maybe top 5 in the league in total homers right now, and that's without Cal. So I think right now watching them hit the ball over the fence has been really fun to see, and there are, as you mentioned, a lot of guys through that lineup that are starting to heat up and do damage. So if the Mariners can continue to find the long ball, find the gaps, hit the ball hard, the exit velocity is up on a lot of guys, so it's starting to come around, and I think that's the fun thing of watching the season unfold, because as now a former player watching it and playing it during it's a little different, but when you're done, you're like, all right, well, after even 2 months of baseball, it's still hard to kind of figure out where guys are going to end up because there's so much time left. So just to see that glimpse of, oh, these guys are really starting to, put good at-bats together night after night and things start rolling, it just shows you where they're at and ultimately where they can be, because at the end of the day, you don't want to peak right now. You want to peak later in the year and into October. So this is just a good place for the Mariners to build off of.
He's like a fine wine, Paul. He's just getting better as he gets older. In fact, I believe we have a photo of Charlie when he played for LSU back in the day. If we could bring that up, I'm kind of audible. Oh, look at that right there.
See, like I said, Charlie even recognized this guy.
I know, you're right. Look at that.
Wow. I don't even know who that is, Chris. If you didn't say that was Charlie, I think that was something out of the Lost Boys.
See, that was before I even knew I could grow a beard, Unbelievable.
Oh, man. I knew he was going to bring that out.